Let's stick with crypto and break down what these recent events might mean, for the industry at large. Joining us now is investment firm Crucible Capital's Meltem Demirors and cybersecurity firm Trusted Sex David Kennedy. Welcome to you both. Meltem, I'll start with you. How would you explain what happened to Ether?
Yeah, so look, I think overall, if we look at what's happened with Bitcoin, Bitcoin is 70% of crypto's market cap. So it is by and far the largest asset just in terms of mind share, in terms of liquidity. What we saw, Bitcoin teleported from 70K to 100K around Trump's election inauguration. We never really got prices in the 75 to 90K range. We're seeing prices fall off and we're retesting that range. The ETF inflows and Michael Saylor's strategy buying Bitcoin propped up to bid for Bitcoin throughout Q4. Then we saw some retail fervor, hedge funds buying, as we saw from 13F filings a few weeks ago. So I think it's really just there was a massive bid for Bitcoin around expectations on a rally. That rally happened. Now we're seeing a retesting of this 85 to 90K range. And again, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of risk. Markets don't like uncertainty.
Although, David, there are some blaming, bad cold storage practices for leaving this Ether vulnerable to this hack.
Yeah, what's interesting about this hack specifically is it very much mirrors a breach that we know very well, SolarWinds, a few years ago from Russian hackers, where they were able to get access through social engineering methods, very similar to what happened here with North Korea and the Lazarus Group, get access to a developer's computer and then use that to upload code to the safe wallet infrastructure that then targeted the cold wallet infrastructure, which is supposed to be heavily more secure. It's considered offline, much harder to hack into. And they did a lot of research, a lot of understanding around the exchanges, the infrastructure, how these types of public and private key cryptography components work, and were able to really abuse that, showing that these are a major front of attack for these groups, and one of the largest heists that we've seen in cryptocurrency attacks ever.
Both of you seem to agree this is a North Korea problem as much as anything. So, David, what do you do? Like, does a typical holder of things like Ethereum, Bitcoin, do they need to worry about ever being targeted?
Well, I think you're seeing the attacks on cryptocurrencies, continue to elevate. The Lazarus Group has been around for 15 years, and their focus has always been on cryptocurrency, and they're getting more and more sophisticated with what they're doing. They're spending longer understanding, the technology, the code behind it, how they can abuse that. If you notice, this attack went completely seamless. They waited for a trigger event to happen through Bybit on that cold wallet, and then, farmed it out to over 6,000 different, addresses to try to mask and hide it, to make it very difficult to actually go and recover it. Very methodical, very repeatable, something that they're going to look at doing for other cryptocurrency exchanges as well. And targeting other companies that have, security built into these products and everything else. So it just goes to show you that, it's a very rocky situation for cryptocurrency right now, and specifically this heist that was able to, retrieve over $1 billion.
Meltem, would Bitcoin ever be vulnerable to a similar issue? Sort of speaking of the moving it to cold storage and that kind of thing, where the North Koreans kind of pounced. And do you think that might make corporate America or even officials considering a strategic Bitcoin reserve think twice?
I think these are two separate issues, right? I think when it comes to investing in Bitcoin, so far Bitcoin that has been secured by cold storage has stayed secure. Again, there are these new vulnerabilities that are emerging all the time. I just want to reiterate, this is a North Korea issue. It will continue to be a North Korea issue. The Trump administration is smart on crypto. They view this not as a crypto issue, North Korea issue. There is always private key risk in crypto. It's just like any other sort of asset that trades on chain that settles with finality, right? The moment you move it, it's going to be a honeypot. I think what we're seeing in the industry that does give me a lot of encouragement is industry actors are working together. In 2003, in 2023, in 2022, an incident like this probably would have been the end of Bybit. In this instance, all of the crypto companies came together, security providers came together, people are tracking, doing forensic analytics, freezing funds. So there is coordination amongst crypto players, governments, and other actors in the space to try to stop these funds from moving, to recover as much as they can. So again, this is something that is just an inevitability of interacting with this new type of technology and this asset that settles with finality. It has great properties, it has downsides, but in my view, this doesn't in any way mitigate or lessen the investment case for Bitcoin as an asset that's worth holding in a balanced portfolio.
David, do you think Bitcoin is more secure?
Well, I think, all of the technologies that are being used for cryptocurrency are designed to be secure, right? And when you start implementing the human element of things, where they can get access to developers that are helping secure that infrastructure, I think that's where you have major risk and exposure, and Bitcoin's not impervious to that in any way, shape, or form. I agree with the sense that, there's a lot of investment, a lot of oomph behind cryptocurrency right now, and I think that will continue to go. But it does bring into a pretty good light that there is a lot of exposure with this as well that are being heavily targeted by North Koreans, but also other actors and ransomware groups and things to that effect, leveraging it as some of their main methods for payments. It continues to be a problem all across the board, supporting ransomware groups for payments and our own infrastructure in the United States when we receive attacks, as well as these nation states that are leveraging it for big heists like we see today.
Yeah, incredibly sophisticated. Appreciate the detail there and kind of discussing what happened. Thank you both today. Appreciate it. Meltem Demirors, Crucible, David Kennedy with Trusted Sec.